and women who have conspired to violate the laws of the state of Georgia. I think what you'll also hear is a story of people who've worked very hard to enforce those laws and to make our state safe for everyone. I think it's important that we realize that gang violence, gang activity has no boundaries. Wherever there's a violation of the law that is gang-related, it's a quality of life issue for every Georgian and every American. I think that you'll see that there are professional law enforcement officers across this state who have worked together, they've collaborated well, and they have worked selflessly in the pursuit of bringing this case to fruition. I'd like to say personally thank you to everybody who's involved, every agency, every person that's put hours and hours into investigating this case. I'd like to also recognize today that we have our Attorney General, Chris Carr, with us, and of course we have our Governor, Brian Kemp, and First Lady Marty. So I'd like to say thank you for your commitment to law enforcement, to law and order. Governor, thank you for your courage and leadership. We appreciate you during these difficult times, and we appreciate your commitment to right, and we appreciate your commitment to law enforcement. This is a very complex case. I think that you'll find it very interesting. It involves a lot of players. And at this time, I'll turn things over to the GBI Director, Vic Reynolds.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Vic Reynolds. I'm the Director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and we're here this morning to announce the return of a major indictment in Upson County. Before we do that and give you some details, it's my first very distinct honor and pleasure to be able to introduce to you today the Governor of the state of Georgia, Brian Kemp. Most of you may know this, but as part of Governor Kemp's both campaign platform and his administration was the stopping and dismantling of criminal street gangs in the state of Georgia. And not only do we have a governor who talks that talk, but we have a governor who walks that walk. I will tell you, on behalf of law enforcement, for us to be in a position we are today to, at the culmination of a virtual year-long investigation resulting in some details I'll give you in a moment, and to have the governor and the First Lady come down here to support us is just a tremendous statement in support of the men and women in brown and blue and the agents both on the state and federal level. So I certainly want to take a moment to thank them. So before I give you a lot of details about the case today, it's my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you the 83rd Governor of the state of Georgia, Mr. Brian Kemp. Thanks.
Thank you, Vic, for that, and I'm honored to be here. I just want to first acknowledge, as Dan and Vic both did, all the professionals that we have in the room that have worked day and night, literally, on this case and many others to get us to this point today. I know the First Lady has been mentioned, but her and our girls are strong supporters not only of law enforcement and our men and women serving in armed services, but all the folks that are working with them side by side every day, our first responders and our prosecutors and a lot of other people, quite honestly, that aren't mentioned that are all part of this whole team. So I want to thank you guys for that, as well as our First Lady for being here. I did just want to mention our Attorney General, Chris Carr. There is no greater team player in the state of Georgia than Chris Carr when it comes to stopping street gangs and going after drug cartels and ending human trafficking. It's something that he has worked on for a long time. Chris, I want to thank you for your support, not only of my administration's agenda, but all that the First Lady's been working on with human trafficking. He's been in the trenches for a long time, rarely asked for recognition, but is just a great team member, and we appreciate you. I know Senator John Kennedy's here this morning, who is also a strong supporter of what we have going on today, the gang task force, the support of that in the state budget, as well as the chairman and a lot of other local elected officials that I know very well that are in the community and that I've gotten to know, and certainly with Sheriff Kilgore and Dix and Chief Richardson. We appreciate all of your leadership on the ground. And of course, the DA Broder, thank you for a great job that you're doing. I had the honor of appointing her to this position back in February, and as you can see, she has hit the ground running. So we are very excited about that, and I want to thank you for being a strong partner with us at the state level and being where we could make today's announcement possibly. And last but not least, I'd like to thank Vic Reynolds and all the folks at GBI, not only the gang task force, but Vic, all of your team, we have worked hand in hand, not only on cases like this today, but on many, many other issues, intelligence gathering and other things that we've had to deal with through some of the civil unrest that we've seen. And we just appreciate all the folks at GBI and how hard they're working, just like the local law enforcement folks are, each and every day to make our streets and our communities safer and to stop and dismantle criminal street gangs in our state. You know, we started talking about this, as Vic mentioned, over 3 years ago during my campaign, and I'm just incredibly proud of the work that we've all been able to accomplish. And it is literally a federal, state, local partnership, and that is what has made us so successful, and we're committed to continuing that in the future. Also, I mentioned Senator Kennedy, but I did just want to mention again the support of the General Assembly, and I know that Attorney General Carr would echo this sentiment as well. The resources that they have worked with us on to have investigators and professionals that are experts in these gang-type cases and prosecutors and investigators has been immeasurable in the help, Senator, that we and the efforts that we've been able to do in our state. And that investment is certainly paying off. So I want to thank the men and women serving in our General Assembly that have supported this as well. And I just want to echo again the teamwork that we have today and how, folks at the local level have made a big difference in the case. The folks at the state level have as well. And I know Vic will talk about some of the cross-jurisdictional partnerships that we've experienced as well in regards to this case, along with our federal partners, which is very important because this is a very organized groups of people that we're going after. They're sophisticated, and it takes all of us working together to be able to continue to bring them to justice and to keep our communities safe. So with that, I'll just close with letting all these gang members know that just because we're having a press conference today, when it ends, our work is not done. We will continue to work hard every day to keep our citizens safe and to follow these individuals that are breaking the law and circumventing our system and making our communities less safe every day. We will follow you wherever we need to, all across this state and all across this country and all across the world if needed to bring you to justice. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Director Reynolds to give you some details on the announcement today. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor. As I said a moment ago, I'm very proud to stand in front of you today with our partners here in Upson County to announce the return of a major indictment against a criminal street gang. I'll give you some details in just a moment, but before I do that, I do want to acknowledge some of the folks that are here with us today. You've heard from Sheriff Kilgore and obviously from the Governor. Sheriff Kilgore mentioned Attorney General Chris Carr, who's been a true friend to the GBI partner, stands shoulder to shoulder with us day in and day out, and you'll hear from Attorney General Carr in just a moment. And District Attorney Marie Broder, her office will literally be toting the water on this case, as we say. She'll be pushing it across the goal line and be trying the case here in this county. We're very proud of our partnership with DA Broder and the tremendous work that her office does as well. We have with us today as well Spalding County Sheriff Darrell Dix, who's part of this Griffin Judicial Circuit. A tremendous partnership with Sheriff Dix as well and all the work he does there. We have a partnership with the Department of Community Services. The Chief Operating Officer Bert Florwellen, the Gang Task Officer Marissa Viverito is here with us. She works with us day in and day out in our task force. We appreciate the work they've done as well. Georgia Department of Corrections is a partner that works with us all the time at the GBI. Ricky Myrick, the Chief of Staff, and Clay Nix, the Director of Office of Professional Standards, and probably really truly an expert in the area of gang activity as well. Thomaston Police Chief Mike Richardson. Our federal partners as well, United States Postal Inspection Service Atlanta Division Inspector in charge, Tommy Cope. Inspector Coke and I have worked together on a number of other issues. He stands with us in this battle against criminal street gangs throughout the state. And the Georgia National Guard, who we partner with as well. Major Justin Ballou is with us, and he and that group under the direction of General Cardin do a tremendous job. We're very honored to stand with him as partners as well. I know we also have representatives here with us from the Fayette Police Department too, who really initiated this particular investigation, and I'm getting ready to tell you a little bit about. This particular operation is dubbed Operation Caged Doves, and I'm proud to announce today that it's netting 46 RICO and gang statute indictments. After a year-long joint investigation, 46 people have now been indicted by the grand jury of Upson County on a number of charges. Those include 92 counts of racketeer influenced and corrupt organization acts, or RICO counts. There's an additional 59 counts of the violation of the Georgia Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act, the Gang Act here in Georgia. You may have heard us say before, it's one of the most powerful tools that the legislature has ever given law enforcement, and we certainly appreciate their willingness to do that. There are multiple counts of trafficking in methamphetamine, trafficking in heroin, multiple counts of possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, possession with intent to distribute marijuana, possession by felony, convicted felons in the possession of a firearm, financial transaction card fraud, 24 counts of aggravated assault, 4 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of battery, 2 counts of tampering with evidence, 4 counts of felony murder, and 4 counts of conspiracy to commit armed robbery. In early 2019, March or so, right when the GBI task force literally began its operation, the Fayetteville Police Department, along with the District Attorney's Office, reached out to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's task force requesting that the agents take a deep dive into criminal activity in Upson, Fayette, and Spalding County areas. The gang task force, with the investigative support of local, state, and federal partners, initiated what truly has been an extensive, deep dive investigation. The investigation showed us that between May 2014 and September 2020, the men and women who have been indicted participated in a pattern of racketeering activity as part of a criminal enterprise known as the Rolling 20 Neighborhood Bloods. They operated across the state of Georgia, included but not limited to Upson, Fayette, Spalding, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Richmond, Greene, Telfair, and Washington counties, and through other parts of the United States as well. This criminal enterprise committed numerous crimes, included but not limited to drug trafficking, assaults, theft of money, personal property, conspiring to assault inmates in the state prison system, and recruiting gang members as well. The following agencies stood with us and assisted us throughout the course of this investigation: the Fayette County Sheriff's Office, the Fayetteville Police Department, the Georgia Department of Community Service, the Georgia Department of Corrections, the Georgia National Guard, their counter-drug unit, the Griffin Police Department, Homeland Security Investigations, Spalding County Sheriff's Office, Thomaston Police Department, the United States Postal Inspection Services, Upson County Sheriff's Department, and as I said a moment ago, the case will be prosecuted by the Griffin Judicial Circuit, headed by D.A. Broder. I hope this shows an example of what we're doing in this state. This activity of criminal street gangs will not be stopped by the state agency alone, by a federal agency alone, or by the locals alone. It can only be stopped through this partnership, and this is a great example of that at work. I will tell you, yes, in addition to what I've just told you about the case, some great news that we just learned late yesterday. GBI gang task force members flew out to Los Angeles, California, for the purpose of looking for the ringleader of this particular group, a gentleman by the name of Ronald Elwood Chapman. Mr. Chapman, we believe, is a third-generation member of this particular gang. And through evidentiary matters, we discovered that he was making organizational decisions regarding the expansion of this group and this gang throughout Georgia, South Carolina, and other states. We issued warrants for his arrest, and late yesterday, GBI gang task force members standing beside LA County Sheriff's Office members, LAPD, and the FBI Fugitive Task Force placed Mr. Chapman in custody. I'm happy to tell you that today he is sitting in the LA County Jail, and I'm sure Ms. Broder will comment in a moment. Our plans are to extradite him back to Upson County to face these charges. So I can't begin to tell you, as the governor pointed out, as the sheriff pointed out a moment ago, how extremely proud I am personally as the director of the GBI for the tremendous work done by the GBI task force, and even more than that, for the partnerships of these men and women standing behind me. That is unequivocally and categorically the only way we're going to defeat these criminal street gangs. and you will see this continuously throughout the state of Georgia and various other parts as well. As the sheriff pointed out a moment ago, and as the governor pointed out as well, one of the partnerships we have is with our Attorney General's office. It's my honor and pleasure now to call on Attorney General Chris Carr for a few comments. Chris.
Director Reynolds, thank you so much. And let me just start by commending and congratulating and thanking our friends and the men and women in law enforcement that are here today that have worked on this operation for over a year. The safety and security of human beings is a fundamental need. In fact, so much so that our Constitution, in the second paragraph of our Constitution, it says that protection of person and property is the paramount duty of government, the paramount duty of government. And you heard from the governor since before he became the governor of the state of Georgia. He has been talking about furthering this principle because the Constitution doesn't just say protection of some persons and some property, it's all persons and all property. And Governor Kemp has dedicated and prioritized in our state the protection of all persons and property. And his vision was to create the Georgia Gang Task Force, knowing that over half of all violent crimes are committed by gang members. And so I commend the governor and I thank him. And he had the vision, but it takes the strategic and tactical day-to-day leadership in order to make that happen. And we have that in the GBI. Director Reynolds has been a DA and he has been a police officer. And every single day, he and the men and women of the GBI, and that includes John Melvin and Mike Carlson and so many, have dedicated themselves to the protection of person and property and to dismantling criminal street gangs. But what they have done and what I have been so impressed with is exactly what Director Reynolds just talked about. They are true professionals at the GBI. They know what they're doing, but they also know that we have greater success in our state when we work together in partnership with federal, state, and local law enforcement. And you see the list, and I commend the sheriff and the DA who will make sure that justice is done. But I thank them for that because this is critically important, obviously, to this part of the state, to this community, but it's important to the entire state of Georgia that our citizens of the state of Georgia know that safety and security is a quality of life issue. Protecting persons and businesses and property and communities and families matter. And so I commend and I thank the men and women of law enforcement who are here today, who have made this announcement, and I pray for their safety and their security and their continued success. Thank you.
You know, one of the things we've learned in these cases, and certainly as a former sitting elected district attorney, is that these cases, law enforcement can work as hard as they can and make these type of cases, but in the end, pushing that case past that goal line, we stand with and depend on our prosecution partners, and we're so fortunate in this circuit to have a district attorney who's willing to do that. So it's my honor and pleasure as our last speaker this morning to call on the district attorney who'll be handling this case, DA Marie Broder. Ms. Broder.
Good morning. Bet y'all were surprised to get an invitation to Upson County this morning, but we certainly welcome you here. My name is Marie Broder. I am the district attorney for the Griffin Judicial Circuit. I want to start by thanking Governor Kemp. Thank you so much for your fight against criminal street gangs. It should be inspiring for the rest of the country, what he's done, and the encouragement that he continues to give. I also want to thank Attorney General Carr. Thank you for your support. You'll never know how much we appreciate you. And Director Reynolds, wow, your team is just incredible. I can't say enough about Jarrett Ursher and John Melvin, Mike Carlson, and your agents that are on the ground fighting this fight. And make no bones about it, it is a fight. And my local law enforcement leaders, Sheriff Barry Babb, Fayette County Sheriff, Chief Mike Richardson, Sheriff Darrell Dix, Chief Gray. I cannot say thank you enough. I know that you stand behind me, and I appreciate it, and you stand behind my people in this office, and your men and women that are boots on the ground fighting this fight, thank you to them. I also cannot say thank you enough to the lead GBI agent on this case and his team. They spent countless hours pouring into data, investigating these individuals who were committing violent crime. Thank you. And to my team, standing here, thank you for all of your hard work. As you all have heard, this was truly a group effort. It was important to me because I've served this community, Upson, Pike, Spalding, and Fayette County for many years. I have seen firsthand the suffering and the evil that gangs inflict on our community here. They thrive by targeting those who are often overlooked, promising easy money and often delivering nothing but a criminal record and a lifetime of regret. They are violent criminals that deprive our community of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But through the hard work of our law enforcement officers who truly came together as a united front to take down these violent gang members, and thanks to a governor who understands the threat that this criminal element poses in our community, we stand ready to send a message to those of you who commit organized crime. Don't come here. The Griffin Judicial Circuit is my home and it is my hometown. In my opinion, it is the greatest circuit in the state. And as your district attorney, I will do whatever it takes to protect this place that we call home. That is why I have partnered with all of these agencies to bring this case to an Upson County grand jury. You see, over the past several years, I have watched as gangs infiltrate our circuit. It is time to drive them out. Gang members, this is for you. Make no mistake, if you choose to commit crime in the Griffin Judicial Circuit, whether you wield the gun yourself or direct another to wield it in your place, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. No matter how many miles we must travel, we will find you. Justice will not be denied. Director Reynolds is right. We will extradite Mad Ronald Chapman and those others that have been indicted across the United States. We will bring them to Upson County and we will prosecute them. In conclusion, I look forward to working with my team and my law enforcement partners to ensure that those evildoers who have acted with impunity for far too long are punished. Today, this day, we take a strong stance against gang activity because the Griffin Judicial Circuit is no place for organized crime. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That concludes the actual conference. I'm sure we'll be able to take some questions. Please remember, we can't give any details about this particular case. As you heard, I do not want D.A. Broder after me, so I'm not going to say anything that I'm not supposed to say, but we'll be more than happy if we can address some questions for you very briefly. Steve?
Just looking up this gentleman briefly, trying to find some more information about him. Without giving the details, how does this end up here in Upson County from the streets of L.A. to rural middle Georgia? How does that happen?
Well, one of the things we consistently see in these gang operations is that it doesn't end at a county line. You know, years ago, you would think about a criminal street gang as perhaps ruling from 5th Street down to 18th Street. And that's not the way it operates anymore. They go across state lines, all motivated by one factor, and that's greed. That's criminal activity, greed, and money. And so we're seeing individuals from other states giving orders in gangs to expand the gang activity in a particular area, to do certain particular types of crimes in those areas. And when we find that, as D.A. Broder said a moment ago, we're going past the state lines to bring those individuals to justice wherever they committed their acts, even if they're doing it by instructing others to do it.
Are there, in the report, I don't know if I missed it, are there any murders or violent crimes
Yeah, in this particular indictment, and Ms. Broder can perhaps give a little bit more detail, but it also encompasses 4 counts of felony murder, 24 counts of aggravated assault, 4 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of battery, and 4 counts of conspiracy to commit armed robbery. So we would consider all of those to fall under the violent crime aspect. Yes, sir.
I know you said before that we have the strongest now gang laws, and it's not about that part of it, but what has happened since the task force, since the last 2 years has spun up, can make this possible you wouldn't be able to do before?
I think, sure. The GBI is uniquely positioned, Steve, in this state to go across state lines, where county lines, where we can work a case. For example, if we get a call in Fayette County and they ask us to assist, and we see that action going to Upson, to Pike, to Spalding, we have the ability through the task force to go across those geographical boundaries and work those cases. And so this task force is a creation of this governor, and something we didn't have before. And we're working with our federal partners. Gives us even more ability as a force multiplier to reach across across county lines and state lines as well when we work with our federal partners. So that's what we're seeing happen here. We have several other cases that we're prosecuting, that we're investigating throughout the state, that extends across not only city boundaries but county boundaries as well. And that's what this task force is capable of doing and bringing to the table.
Is this a network from Georgia to LA?
It is a criminal network, yes.
Could you kind of describe how that is?
Well, we'll have, without giving too much detail, we'll have individuals also from other areas, other states who are involved in it as well, who will eventually be apprehended. I think as of yesterday, or as of today, out of the 46 individuals, we have 25 in custody. We're looking for another 21, so those individuals will be from various places as well. But as we're seeing with a lot of these networks, particularly ones that have a national flavor to them, and with that I mean this is a subsect of the Bloods. We see those. We see subsects of the Cribs, of MS-13, groups like that aren't local hybrid groups. We see them reach across state lines frequently in a network fashion. Yes, sir.
You might have it. I didn't quite get it. But did you give the specific name of this gang? Did they begin in LA and somehow move here?
Yeah, the specific name of this gang is the Rollin, R-O-L-L-I-N, 20s Neighborhood Bloods. And I'm not sure where it originated. I'm sure some of my agents do, but it had a strong flavor from the LA area. Yes, ma'am.
With this investigation and indictment, what message does it send to other gangs across the state of Georgia trying to commit crimes?
Well, we're confident, and we hope and we're confident that it sends the message that Ms. Broder mentioned a moment ago, that in this state, we are not going to tolerate criminal street gang activity. We're not going to. No matter where you're at, it's not simply a metropolitan Atlanta issue. It's all over the state of Georgia. And if you're in suburban Georgia, if you're in metro Georgia, if you're in rural Georgia and you're committing criminal street gang acts, if the locals will call upon the GBI task force the way they have here, and we develop that partnership, we'll bring every asset and tool that we have at the Bureau, along with our federal and state partners, and to make sure that activity stops. We investigate, we arrest, we prosecute, and we'll be in the courtroom hoping that the judges send them to prison when appropriate.
I think that's a good note to end on. If you have questions for the rest of the county is here, then I'm here to go.
Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.